secured a discontinued eGPU for £250, and my life is now complete. I'm a very simple man. Now, I mentioned in a video I did, it might have been a few years ago, I don't know. It's in a series. I play games, I make music, and I've pretty much done everything in between to make that work. So the MacBook I already have is pretty much beastly enough to do most of what I want it to. But integrated graphics cards, you know how it be. It was the one thing missing when it came to things like emulation, any kind of gaming, any kind of rendering when it came to editing, any kind of exporting, of course. So rather than go down the whole buy a separate PC route, I thought, let's see what we can do with 250 quid. And it just so happened to be the, hold on, I've got a manual here, but it's also on the screen. The EGFX Breakaway Pup from Sonnet Tech. It has a Radeon RX 560 in it. So it's not like, you know, top of the range, but it does a job. It does a good job. So let's get into that. But before we get into that, it's long story short, it's everything I did before, but better, which is perfect, right? Boom, part one, the unboxing. Now, it was pretty clean. It was pretty clean. It was advertised as used and barely opened, I think it said in the description, so it didn't really matter. I didn't really panic so much about the quality it was going to come in. It was a little banged up around the edges, of course. I don't know if it was how long it was in storage for, but when I took it out and I saw it, yeah, no scuffs, no scratches. I figured that because eGPUs are not currently compatible with M1 Macintoshes, therefore, I assume that loads of people bought them and then didn't need them anymore, so they just kind of got rid of them. The finish is metallic, so it didn't leave fingerprints as such. They kind of stayed there and then disappeared, but in terms of keeping it clean, it's very simple. Just keep dust out of it, I guess, because it's not inside the unit, but no, it's pretty good. I had a problem with the power cable. It actually came with an American cable, and I am not American. I don't know if this was advertised and I just missed it, but it was a bit of a problem. I did have a little panic. I did end up finding a laptop cable that I had. I happened to have loads lying around anyway, and that just fixed the problem right up. I was a little bit disappointed by the length of the lightning cable, the USB-C cable, but that's me getting ahead of myself. As soon as I got that, it was ridiculously simple, like ridiculously simple. You plug it in, it pops up, it says that you've got it plugged in, and you're good to go. I know that there's a load of people who would probably recommend getting the external enclosure. It's not like an enclosure, it's like a literal separate kind of GPU dock that you plug any GPU you have into. I could have done that, but the next time I get something PC related, it's probably just going to be a whole PC anyway, so, you know, it's more like a throwaway. When the GPU actually came, I was in the middle of editing the shorts, so I do edit in bed. I just find it easier because I spend a lot of time in bed anyway. If I can avoid setting this place up, it's nice that I can just move this around like another charger. It's basically a charger. It replaces the charger. It charges the Mac as well. That might sound minimal, but it's actually really game changing. Like, I barely use my actual original charger anymore, which might be a bad thing, but I know it works. The next thing is the thing I am most excited about. That is the pure emulation. Capture is a strain in itself, so I awkwardly captured the screen like so for this one. GameCube was nice. For most of these I was able to get 1080. I did a couple here. The ones I mentioned in shorts, I went over 007 NIGHTFIRE, which was great. It was very smooth, even with the upscaling as well. It's a very nice experience. Did Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Interestingly, because there is a obviously there's a Wii version. I prefer the GameCube version anyway. I think they flipped the map as well, which is kind of awkward. So it's nice to play it how it started, untouched but glossed up. You know, that's the pleasure in emulation. What more can I say? Super Smash Bros. Melee, of course. an absolute classic, an absolute must play if you haven't, but who are you if you haven't? Yeah, very nice, very nice. I feel like I had some stutters around this part where the Yoshis jump in. That's pretty normal, I had that anyway. There's a bit of a widescreen problem. I don't know if that's specifically because of my settings, but whenever there was like a flash or you bump something off screen, it would like outline the borders, which is kind of weird, but you know, you can live with it. The quality you're getting out of it. We'll go back to PS1 for the retros. Now, I am in the process of trying to restore my PS Vita so I can play these in a better way, but it's nice to see these things so highly upscaled without having to deal with, you know, PlayStation's shitty approach to it. I'm not gonna lie, flipping terrible. When you can just get DuckStation and do this, it's a no-brainer. So we've got a little bit of Metal Slug here. It's a classic. Running very smooth. When they can be upscaled like this, they really outline how much thought they really put into it, you know? Crash Bandicoot, classic. Not really much to say about this. There was a short about how you couldn't spin, and I did admit in the short, or maybe in the comments, I was totally wrong. You can totally spin in this one. I don't know where I was at. You can see me spamming it just to check. Yep, totally there. Totally real. Funnily enough, I also played, or I am playing, Uncharted 4 right now, and it was really trippy to see the whole emulation thing in the game. You've seen it, you've played it, you know what it's about. And the last one, Tekken 3. I often forget that this one had a Force mode. Well, I played 4 the most. I think 4 was the one that I really got into, but we did have 3 back in the day. When I was trying to stream Face with this as well, I didn't have to, but I feel like I was getting better performance from both the recording of my face and the game if I put it down to 720, but 1080 is doing pretty well on its own, so that's nice to see with Tekken. Next we got PS2. I think most of these were 1080. Crash TWINSANITY. The best Crash game. Anyone who disagrees is a scrub. Might be able to catch me whistling in the background if I decide to leave the audio of that in. Art style on this was very beautiful, very unique. I guess. I don't know. Is it unique? Is unique the right word to use? I don't even think that's fair. It was very colourful. Very colourful. That's all I've got. It looks really nice. Look at it. Look at it. Ooh, okay. So we also had Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi 4, which technically doesn't really exist, but it kind of does if you use an emulator. Another bonus to having emulation. I did a couple battles here. I did Super Saiyan God Gogeta versus, I don't even know. I'm back. I stopped at Z. I'm not going any further. Don't judge me. But it was nice to have this. It was nice to play around with this. Unfortunately, the Vita cannot handle PS2. I don't know why I would even consider that it could. I mean, look at the size of it, power constraints, so and so. If I ever wanted to have something like this around, I have this, and that's nice. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. It was interesting to try running this through an emulator, upscale, because I've actually completed it on Critical for the first time yesterday on PS5. So it further outlined how ridiculous it is to even try doing this now when it's more accessible. The frame cap on this is very horrible. I feel like if it didn't have that, it would have played so much better, but I don't think you could implement that into a PS2 ISO. But, you know, proof of concept, it can do it. Matrix Path of Neo. I feel like I had problems with this and I was really sad about it. Yeah, I did. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the upscaling, maybe it's some of the settings I have, maybe it's the AMD GPU. It's basically unplayable. There are many other ways to play this. I'm pretty sure there's a GameCube version as well, so I could probably do that instead and it would be fine. But I originally had the PS2 version, so I kind of wanted to do it there, but it's fine. The last one is a classic that I never hear any PS2 fanatic talk about, and that is Musashi Samurai Legend. It's a pretty simple action kind of RPG. Back in the day, this is as deep as it got if you wanted, I don't know, I want to say combat this deep, but it's not even that deep. This is like watered down first action RPG. I think a lot of people who haven't played, I don't know, what's a good hyped up version of this? I want to say it's like a watered down Neo, but it's like a really, really, really watered down Neo. And not even like Neo 2, like Neo 1. But it's really cool. I like the story, I like the approach to it, and I like the animations, the kind of cell shaded art style going on here. People love the whole cell shading thing back in the day. This is another one. PS3, I didn't even think it would be possible. But somehow it flippin' was. And I'm going to start with a simple one, a classic of mine, Fat Princess. I don't know what made this game so good, so captivating. Maybe it was, I don't want to say it was the simplicity, I think it was just the design of it. The simplicity of objective, but the complication of actually managing it's like a real-time strategy, but with action in it as well. And it's crazy to think of so much at once. Like, you build different stations for different classes, which reset every game. So, if you wanted to sink time into this one, you definitely could. We got J-Stars. I tried it. It booted to, I got all of the character selection. The character selection was fine. And then as soon as I got into the game, shader compilation, I think I got sound, but it was just completely black screen. So I don't know. Maybe it's the GPU. Maybe it's a little behind in the updates. I don't know. I tried Resident Evil 5 as well. Kind of the same with J-Stars. It booted. I got all the cutscenes. I could selected mode to do, had all the bonus features and stuff, but as soon as I got into gameplay, absolutely nothing. Sonic Unleashed. Now, I had a few things with this because it kind of started and it kind of didn't. It crashed at a certain point with the shader compilation. I could see it struggled a bit, so I tried again. I actually got into a mission and then it just nope. It just nope. So I didn't hurt my little baby anymore, and I put it out of its misery. What I was pleasantly surprised by was how well I could get Tekken Tag Tournament 2 running. It runs fine, but there's a black kind of so racist. No, there's a black all the costumes are blacked out for some reason, or at least anything that has like a colored texture on it is blacked out. But other than that, it was very playable, and I might consider keeping this one around. A lot of the others I didn't bother with. I do have a PS3, so, you know. Wii, obviously. Mario Kart, Nintendo, I've got like just over 100. If I get to that by then, subscribers, leave me alone. Here's Mario Kart. I always wanted to upscale this in particular because I think it's on Coconut Mall, where you get to the escalators and you can never see which ones. As soon as you put it through an emulator, you have so much foresight into which way the escalators are going, and it helps phenomenally. Upscaled to 1080p here, everything looks glossy and shiny. There's a really nice reflection of stuff in the floor. I don't know how I didn't notice that before, but it just looks really clean. I always preferred playing either Mario Kart Wii or Double Dash Wii if I have to, because there's scrubs around. But yeah, this is nice. I could play this, you know. Metroid Prime was disappointing. I don't know what happened. It booted, it looked fine, and then it had this. It just had the loading thing in the top left corner. Maybe it's a known problem that could be easily fixed, but I didn't bother looking any deeper into it. I tried going into the home menu to fix it. That didn't do anything, so I don't know. Quick L there. I'll take it. I'll hold it. New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I think when I did the short about this, I used this footage as well. This is nice. This is nice. I quite appreciate this. You can play a variety of Mario games with the amount of Game Boy Color, Advance, SNES, NES, emulators available for any system, but I played this one not a lot. So to get this quality of it on my Mac, and I probably don't even need the eGPU to do this much, but it's nice. It's very, very nice. And of course, Super Mario Galaxy. I've gotten most of the way through this game. I think I stopped because there was one issue with not having a Wii remote. I actually had the cursor mapped to the right analog stick of a PS4 controller. It worked out pretty well until that point, so maybe I'll find a way around it. I think there are like external devices you can get that connect a sensor bar to computer, which I do have a sensor bar and a computer, so, you know, it's an option. I feel like there's Bluetooth adapters for other things as well, such as the Wii remotes themselves. And funnily enough, actually, the PS4's controller, it has a gyroscope thing, so if I was actually using the Mac screen as the main monitor, I could just point the controller at it, but I usually don't, so I try to find a way around it. And yeah, you know, but it's playable. I would very much recommend this if you could. Parallels footage, right? First one we're going to do is Dead Cells. Ran well, I guess. I mean, it's Dead Cells. It's like the test you go for when you first do something like this, and it, you know, it did well. It did okay. I couldn't complain. I feel like the noise of the fan really came out here. Whenever I was doing parallel stuff, the noise was crazy. Let me just get my headphones on and check that for a sec. Yeah, you can hear the whine and the fan in the background. I'll probably emphasize a little bit more. I did have the window closed. You might hear a couple cars, but yeah, fan goes crazy. DMC4 Special Edition. I was kind of disappointed by this. I don't want to say it performed worse than before I had the GPU, but I did a benchmark, and it kind of takes the GPU as a display adapter, which is a bit weird. I don't know if there's a way around that. I know there's a Parallels Tools thing, but I'm not going to do that. I might do that. I'll see the complications in it, see if it's worth it. Let me know in the comments, cough, cough. I feel like I had some issues with this from the get-go. It was very jumpy, so I put the resolution down, and it was a little better. It was a little bearable. I stopped trying to do the first mission and then went into Bloody Palace because, you know, I guess there's less to render in the background, and, you know, it was playable. It's definitely playable, but again, fan noise going pretty darn crazy. I feel like it had another shader compilation problem because I had to I tried doing some combos as soon as I got the new weapon shit, and then it just started going crazy. So there you go. Witcher 3. This was a shock. True shock to the system. Now, this didn't even boot before I got the GPU, but I guess this was a sign that it worked because I could do the tutorial, you know? I haven't even bothered to try and get this far before. It's a little bit much, you know? I would be upset if this is how it ran on my PS4, but for what it's doing and for how I'm doing it, it's pretty impressive. I can't complain. I didn't go further than the tutorial though. As soon as I started doing magic and the different selections and stuff, there was a little bit of lag with the input as well, so I skipped it. But yeah, it was okay. It was alright. Clear sign of improvement. And the last one I did was an old classic of mine called Fate by WILDTANGENT. Mark knows what happened to them, but I know it's old, so I just straight up pushed it all the way up on everything, and I mean, yeah, it's pretty, I guess. It didn't drop at all. It was still steady in frame rate. It doesn't count the frame rate in this, and I didn't have one installed, so I'm going to assume it's 60. It looks really smooth. It's obviously not very demanding anyway, but it's very nice to see this at a higher resolution as well. And the final thing, the big un. He did it. He bloody did it. Breath of the Wild, 1080p on the Mac. Now, obviously shader compilation, the problem for everyone doing this, but it did okay. After it managed the shaders, it did really, really well. I'm like not halfway through it. I keep saying I'm halfway through things. I'm not halfway through it. I just managed to do the first or second beast. It's Van something. They're all Van something. I don't know. But it was cool. It's nice, and mostly playing it in bed actually. So I guess you could call it handheld mode to some extent. But yeah, no, I'm very, very impressed because I could not do this before. So streaming, or at least face recording and game or screen recording with audio. This was such a problem whenever I tried to do it in the past. If I could get the audio, the video, the footage all in one thing and then put it into Logic or Final Cut Pro, separate it, mix them differently, it'd be great. And it kind of worked, it kind of didn't. Here's how it went. I feel like it's not terrible, but let's go. Oh wait, no, let's not go. Shit. It's making noise. Do you know what? Is that Linkin Parky? That sounds really Linkin Parky. Have I just ripped off Linkin Park? I'm sorry. I'm not though. Yeah. So the final thing here is the conclusion. I'm happy. Yeah, for 250 quid. There are many other things I could have bought for what, like maybe 250 quid more, but then I couldn't have bought the things that I'm going to do in the next video. He's got a thing going on here. If you're looking for an eGPU, if you have a Mac, if you have an Intel Mac, I'll say that first. It seems like a very specific use case, but if you have an Intel Mac, if you bought a Mac like just before they released the new M1 chips, then I would highly recommend this because it gives you that last boost you need and probably all the boost you're ever going to get. So yeah, 7 out of 10, maybe a 6.5. I'm a kind guy, I'm going to give it a 7. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends. There will be, fuck it, spoilers, there will be a 3DS XL, new 3DS XL modding video and a PS Vita restoration video in the works. Well, they should be done by the time this comes out, to be honest, but yeah, that's what we're doing. I believe Rosie just released a track. I'm really trying to think ahead here. It should be a banger. It is a banger, I produced it. And she sung it, she's amazing, so go check her out, go love her. Yeah, she was